Hi everyone, I'm Alexandra Svalastog. Some of you may remember me as the wife of Viking Ocean Cruise's first captain, Captain Gulleik Svalastog. And for those of you who may be wondering about Gulleik, well, he retired from life at sea. But during his time with Viking, we both had the privilege and pleasure of meeting many of you, and we cherish those memories. So I'm especially pleased to have been invited to speak a little bit about wellness and what I do to stay happier and healthier. I'm a certified stress consultant and a certified hypnotherapist. And what that means is that I use hypnosis and some other very valuable and handy techniques to help people make the changes they want, to feel less overwhelmed, to manage their stress better, feel happier, healthier, and of course, achieve whatever goals they have. Why did I choose to go into this line of work? Well, I like to say that we teach what we most need to learn and learn what we most need to teach. And for me, I needed to learn how to worry less and manage my stress better because it was taking a toll on my health. But thanks to what I do for a living, I can honestly tell you that when I turned 60, I was far healthier emotionally and physically than when I turned 40. So I know that what I learn and teach every day really do work. Wellness is a broad goal and a lofty one. So it's good to get clear on the specifics of that. What would you be doing if you were completely well that you can't do now? What would you be feeling? Well, if you're like most of my clients, you'd be saying, I'd like to feel happier. But happiness is like this vague goal, often so far out in the distance we can't see it clearly. But here's the thing. If you want to feel happier, you have to practice being happy because repetition is what's going to help rewire it into your brain, your body. But of course, when I tell this to my clients, often they say, well, I can't remember the last time I was happy, or it's in too short supply. So I tell them that's okay. You can practice feeling happier in your imagination. Because your body, your nervous system, well, they don't know that what you vividly imagine isn't real. It's like if you imagine a lemon in your mouth and you really experience the explosion of tartness, the smell. If you do that properly, you'll notice that there's more saliva in your mouth. Just imagining that lemon produced a physiological effect. So it's the same thing when we practice being happy in our imagination. If you can bring up vivid images and scenarios, show your brain, this is me feeling happier. And you do this by bringing up details. What are you doing? What are you saying? What's the expression on your face, your body language? Well, if you do that properly, you're going to trigger happy hormones. So the very same physiological benefits that you would get if you were happy in a real life situation, well, you can receive those very same benefits simply by practicing being happy in your imagination. And that's a good place to start. I think that when it comes to wellness, sometimes we're better served by learning to broaden our definition of happiness. If you thought of happiness as a color, well, it would have different shades. Some of the more obvious ones are, of course, contentment, bliss, wholeness, excited anticipation, laughter. A less obvious one is forgiveness. Because I don't know about you, but I feel really happy when someone forgives me, and even happier when I manage to forgive someone else. But happiness can also be experienced when you're in an moment that's an aha moment, an out-of-the-box moment, a moment when you're feeling good enough, a moment when you're feeling worthy, a moment when you chose to feel relaxed instead of frustrated. All of these make us a shade of happy. Now, my favorite shade of happy is relief. Sometimes I'll be lying in bed and I'll think to myself, ooh, I want to make myself happy. So I'll start thinking about all the things in my day that could have gone wrong, but didn't. I'll think about, oh yeah, I didn't cut my finger when I was making dinner. I didn't stub my toe when I went out for a walk. I didn't wind up in an emergency room. I'll check in with my body and I'll feel, ooh, it's comfortable. I'll also think about all the things that turned out unexpectedly right, not just for me, but for the people that I love. All the good news, the things that we had hoped wouldn't happen and didn't, and the things that we hoped would happen and did. And I'll think about all these things and I'll just allow that gratitude and happiness to wash over me. And it's a great way to fall asleep. When I was young, I unconsciously wired my brain for worry. Now, your brain is always looking to prove you right, so my brain would go in search for things to make me worry even more. And when it couldn't find them, it would make them up. But thankfully, I've now managed to rewire my brain for less worry and more happiness. So sometimes I'll be sitting in my kitchen and I'll think to myself, I'm happy. And in that moment, I make my brain go in search of something to prove me right. And usually it'll find something that I can be grateful for, because gratitude is a lovely shade of happiness. Now, often a client will say to me, there's nothing in my life that my brain can go and find that makes me happy. So then I'll say, okay, well, let's train your brain to spot the potential for happiness. Now, those not so glamorous moments, those mundane, boring moments, they have potential. And we can use a lovely shade of happiness like mindful appreciation to make the ordinary moment more special. Because often all we need to do is blow a kiss to that plant that we never think of except when we have to water it. Or when you're texting, look at your fingers and just feel that appreciation for all that they're able to do for you. When you're drinking that glass of water, just be so appreciative that your throat feels so refreshed when you're drinking that water, for the water itself, for the gift of the water. And I know these sound like little insignificant things, but when you train your brain to put a little extra in the ordinary by asking yourself, what can I do to make this moment a little happier, a little more meaningful? And you do this again and again, because remember, you train your brain through repetition. You may just find that your brain is going to get really good at putting the extra into the ordinary, so that you just may end up with a life that's a little more extraordinary. Happiness is fleeting, all too fleeting, because often we're so busy that our conscious mind barely has time to register it. So that we could be happy, and we're so busy that by the time we realize that we were happy, that moment is long gone. So I tell my clients, look, when you're just feeling like you were a little bit happy, stop yourself and observe your happiness. Observe yourself being happy. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm happy, Well, where are you feeling that happiness? What part of your body is happy? What does that feel like to you? Because there's something about observing ourselves feeling happy that deepens that moment, that stretches that happiness, so that every cell in your body is feeling, I'm happy. And that's something that you can use to make those moments of happiness last even longer and make more of a difference in your life. Grow that health and wellness. I believe that if we want more wellness in our life, well, we have to learn to listen to ourselves, as St. Benedict once said, with the ear of our heart. You know, your heart talks to your brain far more than your brain talks to your heart. And when love, the emotion with the highest vibrational frequency, travels to your brain from the heart, our body's most powerful source of electromagnetic energy, well, the brain listens. Our brain waves become more coherent, our mind relaxes, our body feels a little more centered, a little better. So I tell my clients, if you want to feel better, learn to send your body love from the heart. With that in mind, I came up with something called the I love you breath. Very simple. My clients love to practice it. And you can practice it for however long you want, 5-10 minutes. So basically, you inhale on the I, a nice long inhale. You pause on the love, and you exhale slowly on the you. I like to mouth the words silently, but you can say them up in your head. I like to breathe out through my mouth, but you can breathe out through your nose, and this works fine too with abdominal breathing. So you put your hand on your heart to connect with it. Oh, that feels good. The main thing is that you really feel that love, because words are just words. It's emotion that gives them meaning. So when you're sending this love to yourself, to a person you care about, to a cherished pet, to your garden, make sure you're really feeling that love and gratitude for their presence in your life. Use gratitude to amp up that love even more. You can send love out into the world, to the forests that experience tragedy as well. You can send love to a part of your body that's feeling a little uncomfortable. I know I like to practice this breath and send a little love to any part of my body that's feeling a little discomfort. I like to send it to my immune system just because I believe that love makes it work more wisely. I like to do the I love you breath when I'm in need of a little bit of compassion, a little bit of support. Because, so often, we're taught that love is something that's given and received when we're good, but withheld when we're bad. And practicing this breath gives us an opportunity to be forgiving of ourselves. If you're feeling impatient with your body because it's feeling sick, well, you can practice the breath, because it's like saying, you know what, I forgive you for feeling sick when I needed you to stay healthy and well. But it's important too to remember to send love to all those parts of our body that are feeling good, that are feeling well. Doing this breath is a way of making those unconditional declarations of love and support that our body, our subconscious mind, need to hear in order to grow health and wellness. Gulleik and I live about an hour and a half from Oslo in a small city called Tønsberg. And this is Slottsfjellet, the castle on the mountain. As you can see, there's not much left of the castle, but the view from here is just wonderful. My husband and I met on a cruise ship in 1981. He was working as first officer, I was working in the gift shops. So even back then, I had plenty of opportunities to visit some wonderful places. But here's the thing, I don't remember much of it. My body was there, but who knows where my mind was, because it's all like this lovely haze with very few specifics. I wasn't in the right mindset. I took it too much for granted. I wasn't in the present moment. Fortunately, by the time Gulleik started working for Viking in 2014, I had learned a thing or two about making a memory. Because a photo, a video can't always capture the energy of a place, the smells, the way the food tasted. Intentionally making a memory is about using your mindful awareness to capture and film a moment in slow motion, using all your senses. And there's something about telling yourself, I'm going to make a memory, that just makes your brain remember it more. The Viking Star was built in Venice. We lived in Mestre, which is just right outside of Venice. And I remember one afternoon going to the piazza. Now, I love the piazza. So this particular day, I told myself, I'm going to make a memory. I closed my eyes and I made myself really feel the happy energy of the piazza, the happy sounds, the smells. I went and I got myself a gelato, a chocolate one. I sat on a stone bench and I made myself amplify the taste and texture of that creamy goodness. So it wasn't just my taste buds that were enjoying it, but every cell in my body. So the next time you're on a Viking cruise and you're in a place where you know you want to make a special memory, slow your mind down, because your conscious mind can only take in so much information at a time. So linger and try and capture the moment with one of your senses at a time. What are you seeing, of course? But what are you listening to? If it's church bells, are they making any particular music? The temperature in the air, how does that feel on your skin? The good, the not so good smells. The energy of a place. Close your eyes and really make yourself feel it. Is the atmosphere one of chaotic beauty? Is it one of peace? And of course, the tiny details that are often overlooked, forgotten, but often it's in those tiny details that we can find a wealth of memories. My sister and I sailed to Japan on the Viking Orion in 2019. And I have wonderful memories from that trip, but it's the ones that I made intentionally that make me feel the best. And I remember one afternoon strolling one of the temples in Tokyo and coming across this group of girls. They were so beautiful in their gorgeous kimonos, those unique styles, stunning colors. And I remember most is that they were so happy. Their energy was palpable. And even now talking about this, I feel my happy hormones flowing. So I approached them and I told them how beautiful they looked. And even now I can remember those shy, heartwarming smiles, the pleasure they took in my compliment, and it makes me feel so good. So when I'm at home, I'm feeling a little blah, a little stressed out, I'll vividly reimagine one of my favorite memories. And well, as far as my nervous system, my body are concerned, they don't know that I'm really not back in Mestre or back in Japan. And they feel so much better, you know? It's like I'm back there having a good time.
So the next time you're feeling a little stressed out, a little out of sorts, sit down and recall one of your favorite memories from one of your cruises on Viking. But really close your eyes and bring up as much detail as you can. Make your body feel it. Engage all of your senses, and you'll see what a difference it can make.
This bird reserve is about a 20-minute walk from our apartment. And I love coming here. Now you would think that in a place this tranquil and lovely and peaceful, that our thoughts, our emotions, all those conversations we have with ourselves, well, that they would mirror this beautiful tranquility. And sometimes they would, but sometimes they wouldn't. You know, sometimes we could be in a place this relaxing, and yet our focus would be on a conversation that we had with a loved one that left us feeling disappointed or hurt. Or we could be blaming ourselves for something. Or we could be thinking about the stressful situation or illness that a loved one is going through. And what a waste that would be of the present moment, of a moment with so much potential to bring us a little bit of happiness, calm, and peacefulness. So that's where mindfulness, or as I like to call it, mind sitting, comes in so handy. To me, really, mind sitting is just like babysitting the brain. Because babies, when they're just starting to crawl, you know, if left up to their own devices, will head off in the wrong direction. And our brain is wired to head off in the wrong direction. It's wired to go ruminating in the wrong direction. So we have to learn to observe our brain. And with the same tenderness and compassion and patience and non-judgment that we would use when we pick up a baby and bring it back to a place that's safer, well, we have to do that with our brain as well. You'd have to pick it up with that same non-judgment and patience and bring it back to the present moment, which is usually a lot safer than where it wanted to go to. Now, sometimes this can be an exhausting business, but our wellness depends on our ability to do just that. There are many reasons why what we're thinking, what we're feeling has such an impact on our body. But for me, at least, the most fascinating one is one that I learned early on in my career. And that's that our subconscious mind isn't located between our ears. It's actually located in every single cell in our body. Thanks to neuroscientist researchers like the late and great Dr. Candace Pert, we now know that every single one of our many trillions of cells houses our subconscious mind. So in essence, what we have is a mind body. Now, what does this mean exactly? Well, it means that you can't keep a secret from your big toe. It means that you can't call yourself stupid or a failure and use a critical, harsh tone without this having an impact on every single cell in your body. You can't repeatedly tell yourself, oh, I hate my life, I hate myself, without all the cells in your liver, in your colon, listening in. And how do you think that's making them feel? What kind of information do you think they're going to be passing on when they eventually die, when they divide and pass on information to daughter cells? So I like to point out to clients, what's your legacy? What's the message that the daughter cells are going to be inheriting from you? So how often do you imagine a potentially iffy situation in different but equally upsetting ways? The thing is this, stress and wellness are created by the life you lead.
but they're also created by the life you lead inside your imagination, because your body, your nervous system, doesn't know that tragic ending or that happy ending you just imagined isn't real. So this alone makes me more mindful about all my imaginings and all the conversations I have with myself, because I know that all of these are either helping my body produce more DHEA, the cell repair hormone, or cortisol, a stress hormone. So I know what to do, but sometimes it's just like good advice that you can't take. And that's okay. I tell my clients, you know what? You forgive yourself and you love yourself no matter what. Because learning to observe your brain, yourself, in a way that feels supportive, non-judgmental, loving, really helps to take the edge off our stress. And it allows us to make small changes, like modulating the tone of our voice, making it softer, gentler, choosing our words more wisely, using more forgiving, tender language when we speak to ourselves. And when we catch ourselves going what-ifing in the wrong direction, bringing ourselves back to the present moment and reimagining that scenario in a way that feels better in our body. Because all of these changes, small ones, when repeated over and over, create lasting change and a little more wellness.
There's a reason why sometimes it's as though imagining the worst thing going wrong is so much easier than imagining that very same thing turning out right, or why feeling unhappy seems to require zero effort, while feeling happier takes a little more work, or why feeling pessimistic can at times feel more natural than feeling optimistic. I tell my clients that we have to be a little patient with our brain because it has a built-in negativity bias. So we have brains that find it easier to distrust, that while waiting for the other shoe to drop, become suspicious of happiness. And this is probably because feeling happy didn't help our ancestors live longer, but feeling anxious did. To protect us, fear is our body's weapon of choice. So for our ancestors, feeling too chilled, too safe, wasn't as good a strategy as feeling pessimistic and distrustful, because feeling anxious kept them in a state of preparedness to deal with those tigers and bears. Now, most of us don't have to worry about tigers and bears, but to our body, our nervous system, well, the dwindling bank account, an inability to say no, to speak in front of a crowd, all those people that make us feel unworthy, the stressful situation that a loved one is going through. Well, these are all clear and present dangers. They're tigers in our life. And if we have one too many tigers, our fight or flight gets switched on and remains in the on position. So what happens is that our body goes into survival mode. And being in survival mode is kind of like that unease that's telling you you can't be completely happy yet until you've dealt with this and accomplished that. It's not safe to relax until there's more money in the bank account. It's not safe to relax and dwell on those good things because you have to stay prepared for the not so good things that are coming. So I tell my clients, listen, you have to practice a little tough love with your brain and remind it, look, I know you're trying to protect me by making me worry more, but unless there's a real tiger chasing me, calm is going to protect me more than fear. And it's okay to let me feel safe enough to feel happy, to relax. I also remind my clients not to overestimate the threat of those tigers and underestimate their ability to deal with those tigers. And of course, when they're off thinking about the worst thing that can happen, to keep it real. bring their mind back to whatever they're doing, folding the towels, doing the dishes, whatever's on their desk, and just take a nice long out breath. Let it all flow out. Check with their jaw. Make sure that their jaw is relaxed. And with their tongue, make sure that their tongue is resting comfortably on the floor of their mouth. Doing this is going to stimulate the vagus nerve, the main component of our parasympathetic system. So it's going to signal the brain that it's okay to allow us to relax a little bit. And once you're in a more relaxed place, an interesting thing happens. Your brain is going to send you more thoughts and feelings that have a similar biochemical match to that relaxed state. So you may just find that your thoughts become a little more relaxed, a little more resourceful. So it's easier to go back and reimagine that worst case scenario having a better ending. And once you do that, allowing gratitude to just wash over you. And in this way, you help keep your brain's negativity bias in check. I like to remind my clients that every day, consciously or unconsciously, we're shaping, molding our brain in good and not so good ways, depending on the quality and quantity of our thoughts, our feelings. It's good to remember that health and wellness isn't just about feeding our body the right kinds of foods, but it's also about feeding it plenty of healthy feelings and thoughts. Because after all, a diet that's heavy in thoughts that are going to keep our body stuck in anger or regret is probably not going to optimize health and may just be shaping our brain in ways we don't want. So the question is this: which neural network are your thoughts feeding? Are your neurons firing and wiring? Calm or worry? Confidence or insecurity? Resilience or despair? Because remember that the neural network that gets fed the most often is the one that's growing bigger, louder, and becoming the most dominant voice in your head. So be mindful and ask yourself, which neural networks are you going to be feeding today? What healthy thoughts and feelings are you going to be feeding your brain? Behind me are my mindfulness stairs. Now, this may seem like an odd thing to want to show you, but one of the really cool things that I do with clients who want to rewire their brain for good change is to help them establish mindfulness anchors. Now, an anchor is something that pairs a stimulus with a conditioned response, kind of like Pavlov's classic experiment with the dogs. One of my very favorite quotes is by Viktor Frankl. Between stimulus and response, there lies a space. And in that space, there's the freedom to choose our response. And in that response lies our growth, our freedom. Mindfulness anchors are something that you can use to create a link between the stimulus of your choosing and a positive state of being. So when I moved to this apartment, these stairs, which I didn't like very much because they're steep and every step is very narrow, I knew could potentially become a problem for me because I had fallen down the stairs twice, and the last time I ended up in a hospital. So I knew that if I didn't do a reframe, if I didn't start perceiving them as something positive instead of something negative, my amygdala could start going, danger, danger, every time I started coming down these stairs, and I didn't want that. So I paired the stimulus which was going to be coming down the stairs with my response, which was going to be a state of gratitude and blessing. And I picked gratitude because I believe that the more grateful we are, the more the universe sends us to be grateful for. So I began by saying the words thank you each time I was coming down the stairs, and really inspiring my body to feel that gratitude, to feel blessed. So I would think about things and people that would do that for me. And what I was doing each time that I did it, and I had to do it every single time. If I didn't, I'd make myself go back up the stairs and come down again, was to train my brain to establish the neural links and associations necessary to establish my power anchor. So now it's been 2 years, and every time I come down these stairs, my mind, regardless of where it is, I could have been thinking about something totally different. And as I'm coming down, I start feeling gratitude, and the words thank you start flashing across my mind. So it's very cool, really. And the more interesting thing is that now when I go down any set of stairs, all of a sudden my body goes on automatic. I don't have to think about it. I just start feeling this gratitude, and I feel so blessed. So these mindfulness stairs have really added so much to my life. So I'd like to encourage every one of you to pick something in your home, make it your stimulus, and then pair it with the emotional state of your choice. And you'll see what a difference it can make. But remember, mindful consistency and repetition is the key. That's what's going to really wire it into your body and make that a wonderful anchor. We unconsciously create anchors all the time. A song can move you to tears if every time you listen to it in the past, you cried. Intentionally setting an anchor is what allows you to practice and cultivate an emotion, because practice is how the brain learns to condition in that desired response. So for example, I encourage all my clients to set anchors for compassionate self-love. And bathroom mirrors make a great stimulus. So every time they go to the bathroom and they look at themselves in the mirror, they can either blow a kiss at their reflection, or say something tenderly to themselves, or hug themselves. Whatever it is that they do should help them conjure up a little bit more compassion and self-love. And this is important. Sometimes it's a case of fake it till you make it, because regardless of whether you're feeling angry or sad, you have to really try for those few seconds that you're looking at yourself in your reflection to really feel a little more loving towards yourself. And you'll find that repetition, and remember, an anchor is only as strong as how often you reinforce it. You'll find that when you look into any mirror, your brain has generalized this out so that automatically your body is going to feel a little bit more loving. You're going to feel a little bit more love towards yourself. Now, another anchor that's very popular is an anchor for calm, because most of my clients tell me, oh, I want to feel a little bit more calm. Now, this is an interesting one. So if we want to feel more calm, it has to be a stimulus that can travel with us, right? Because we want to feel more calm in our car or on a plane or sitting at the doctor's office. So I have them choose an anchor, like, for example, pressing their thumb to forefinger, or squeezing their right hand, or tapping their wrist. This is my personal favorite because the wrist is an acupuncture point. So they pick what they want to do, and you're free to pick something else. But the idea is to practice the desired response. Now, often calm is something that is easier to practice when we're already feeling a little more calm. So I asked my clients, okay, close your eyes and really try and bring up a feeling of calm, a little more relaxation in your body by thinking of the last time you were calm and how maybe you were so unexpectedly calm, you surprised yourself. Where is that calm in your body? What does it feel like? Really bring that feeling of calm. And often it's going to be a case of fake it till you make it, but really bring up those thoughts that you know are going to make you feel a little bit calmer. So that every time you do this, and ideally you're going to do this once a day, you're training your brain. It's creating those synaptic connections, firing and wiring a little more calm every time you say you squeeze your right hand. And all you have to do is squeeze it for maybe 20 seconds to a minute. But the important thing is that you do this often, because that's really what's going to create that resource, make that anchor strong for when you need it, for when you're in the car and you're feeling that you're becoming a little more stressed out, or you're on a plane and you want to feel calmer. If you've already practiced and reinforced it enough, it's strong. And so that in those real life situations, it's there, ready for you to activate. So this is a wonderful resource that can add great quality to your life and a whole lot of wellness. I teach clients techniques that they can use to interrupt their brain when they find themselves going into worry mode. Your brain is an efficient machine and it's a creature of habit. So it's going to take the fastest, most well-traveled path. And if that is the pathway to worry, then that's the one it's going to take. So essentially, practicing a technique like this one puts up a roadblock. It tells your brain, no, I don't want you to take that familiar pathway. It helps reroute your brain. When you have a fearful thought, then that fearful thought feeds another, and pretty much you're on this downward spiral that scrambles your brain waves. So this technique called bilateral stimulation is one that's a very good one. And you can find this technique, by the way, in a great little book called The Anti-Anxiety Toolkit by Melissa Tiers. So basically what you're going to be doing is stimulating the right and left side of your brain, bringing those two hemispheres more in sync with each other and breaking up that anxious feeling. So before you start, rate your feeling from 1 to 10. Let's say it's at a 9. That's your starting point. So you're going to be passing. I've got an avocado, but whatever fruit you have, you're going to be passing it back and forth, moving your arms, crossing the midline of your body. That's important. You're going to be breathing mindfully, observing yourself, passing the fruit back and forth for about a minute. Then you check in with that feeling. Where is it now? Is it at a 5? If it's at a 5, you keep going. Passing your fruit back and forth, breathing mindfully, making sure that you're crossing the midline of your body. And as you're doing this, you're stimulating the right and left side of the brain, bringing those hemispheres more in sync with each other, breaking up that feeling more and more. So check back with yourself, and that feeling is usually greatly reduced. What this does is it buys you those minutes necessary to bring your body back to a more neutral state, to bring yourself back to a more resourceful state, so you can start feeding those more positive thoughts, being able to come up with those solutions more easily. So, I hope that by practicing this technique, you find that you've gotten yourself a good little resource that's going to add even more wellness. In Norwegian, the word glede means delight, pleasure. So when you say, jeg gleder meg, you're saying, I'm looking forward to it. But when you say, jeg gruer meg, it means you're not looking forward to something. Norwegians did a brilliant thing. They came up with a word that expresses both sentiments, gruglede. So when you say, jeg grugleder meg, it means that a part of you is looking forward to something, but a part of you isn't. Essentially, I'm dreading what I'm looking forward to. And I think that's a good description about the way many of us may feel about change, because even good change can be challenging. We may consciously want it, but our subconscious mind is attached to the familiar, even the not so good familiar. So it may not be as keen to upset the status quo. But the thing is this, I think that when it comes to life, when it comes to change, we're better off approaching our day, our goals, with a little bit more glede and a little less gru, a little bit more pleasure and a little less dread. So when I notice clients, loved ones, friends, focusing more on the reasons why they're not looking forward to something rather than the reasons why they are, I tease them and I say, listen, put a little bit more glede in the gru. And they laugh because they know exactly what I mean. That they should infuse a little more pleasure, happiness into the part of themselves that's not looking forward to it. So the next time you find yourself dreading what you're looking forward to, remember, put a little bit more glede in the gru. Many of my clients tell me that they can't feel safe enough to relax. The truth is that we can't depend on the people around us to make us feel safe, and we're learning that we certainly can't rely on our outer environment to feel safe. So I encourage clients to use the power of visualization, to use their imagination to create homegrown feelings of safety and relaxation. You know, you can't feel anxious and relaxed at the same time. So I like to say that relaxation is power, and your ability to relax in a way that makes every cell in your body feel deeply relaxed makes you powerful. My clients love the guided relaxation journeys that I record for them using their input and preferences. And you can record your own guided relaxation journey using a little tape recorder, or you can use your phone. I like the music from Awakening Planet on YouTube, but you can use any music that makes you feel relaxed. Then you can sit down and think about your safe place, your favorite place. Maybe it's a dream home, or a place out in nature, or perhaps a beach paradise. But whatever it is, bring it to life. Use as much detail as you can, because remember, what you imagine vividly, you make real in your body, in your heart. So what are you going to be seeing, feeling, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching? Once you're clear on that, find a spot there to lie down and relax. You can start writing those relaxation suggestions. Now, only you know what relaxation means to you. I know that for me, when I'm relaxed, I love feeling that sensation of heaviness. So my suggestions are something like this. I'll say, my arms are feeling heavier and heavier. My legs are feeling more and more relaxed and so heavy. But of course, you can change that to whatever feels right to you. Now, if you're not sure what relaxation is, well, leave these suggestions open-ended. So just write, my arms are feeling more relaxed. My legs are feeling more and more relaxed. And you'll see that when you listen to yourself, your arms and legs will usually respond. And it'll be interesting to see the physical sensations that you're going to experience. Start with your forehead and write suggestions for relaxing your eyes, your cheeks, your jaw, your mouth, your tongue. Move all the way down, focusing on those areas that you know where you hold more tension, your neck, your shoulders, and write extra suggestions for these. Work yourself down. I know that I like to release my tension through the soles of my feet, but you can use any exit point you wish. Your breath is a good one. You can imagine releasing all that tension through your out breath or your navel, whatever works best for you. And really feel the power of that release. Just let go of anything you'd like to let go of and use your exit points to make sure that it all leaves your body. You can also incorporate the use of light. I like to use white light, but any color that you find relaxing, could be a rainbow, works fine. I like to make this as vivid as I can by imagining that white light entering the top of my head and moving all the way down, soothing, comforting every one of my organs, my liver, my stomach, my spleen. And this feels really good to me. You can also use your belief system. If you believe in angels or guides, well, what angels are going to be with you, accompanying you in your favorite place? But really, the most important element about creating a safe place is to make it your safe space. You should be there for yourself like you would be there for a small child that you love, that was in need of comfort, that was feeling a little scared. So make sure that you write in suggestions that are going to bring you a little bit more reassurance, that are going to soothe you, comfort you, and make sure that your tone reflects that throughout your recording you use a loving, gentle, soft tone. And remember that this is a place where you can feel safe enough to forgive your failures, because forgiving your failures breeds its own kind of success. Make it safe for yourself to mess up, screw up, to go there and find unconditional comfort and support, things that are going to make you feel safer. So once you have your script all down and you know yourself better than anyone, you know what you need to listen to in order to feel safer, better. Once you do this, record it to your favorite music and then just listen. Make it any length you want. Mine, sometimes they're as long as an hour. And you'll see how doing this can really make a difference in your life and add a whole lot of wellness.
This weekend is the Tønsberg Viking Festival. So I thought I'd show you a little bit of what Tønsberg looks like. This is a very popular place in the summer. And we have a brygge. It's not quite like Bergen, but it's lovely. And it's crowded on weekends, especially this one. Take a look at those 3 Viking ships. So beautiful.
I know from speaking to many of you that we share a wonderful curiosity and a deep desire to explore the world. I'd like to encourage you to take that curiosity and turn it inward. Because wellness often depends on how mindful, willing, and curious we are about observing, exploring our inner world without judgment and with plenty of compassion, kindness, and wise attention in order to make it a better one. We may not be able to control what happens on the planet, but we have greater control over what happens in the universe that's inside us. That universe is our home. Now we give our homes, our faces, our bodies a makeover, so why not our inner world? After all, to make a difference in someone else's life, we have to first make a difference in the life inside ourselves. I'd like to thank you very much for listening, hopefully with the ear of your heart. And I hope that something I've shared can help make a tiny difference in your life. I'd welcome any questions, comments. I'd love to hear from you. I really look forward to my future Viking cruise and connecting with you. In the meantime, take good care and be well.